Welcome to the Short Term Rentals podcast. Here we share all of the latest news, opinion and intelligence from across the burgeoning short-term vacation rental space, along with thought-provoking interviews with industry leaders. My name is Paul Stevens, editor of Short Term Rentals at IHM and host of this week's episode. This podcast is kindly sponsored by yhangry, a chef marketplace which helps customers to book private chefs to come and cook for any occasion, such as birthdays, hen parties, or weekly meal preparations. The company currently works with more than 600 chefs across the UK and is expanding rapidly into the short-term rental segment. For episode 55 of the Short Term Rentals podcast, we're joined by Siddhi Mittal, co-founder and co-CEO of chef marketplace yhangry, to discuss her startup's move into the short-term rental segment and her own personal motivation, the current trends that she is observing, and the curation of guest searches for more bespoke experiences. Okay, it's a pleasure to welcome you to the Short-Term Rentals podcast, Siddhi. Just how are you doing today and where are you joining us from?
Thank you for having me. Doing really well, and I'm joining from my home in London, actually.
Excellent. That's a little bit closer than some of our podcasts, but so we can sort of talk about the terrible weather in the UK at the moment. But alas, we have got more important things to talk about than weather. First, Siddhi, just please introduce yourself. yhangry and the services you provide in the travel and hospitality industry.
Yeah, of course. So I'm Siddhi. I'm one of the co-founders and co-CEO of yhangry. yhangry is a marketplace where anyone can book a private chef at the same cost as a restaurant. So imagine your birthday, hen do. It could start as little as £40 per person, and it goes up to like obviously £150 per person on the higher end, etc. In terms of where people are booking, we have customers booking at their home, but the biggest trend right now is people booking at their holiday home rentals all across UK. So they book an Airbnb or a lovely cottage, and then they get a chef in.
Fantastic. And just tell us a little bit about your trajectory up until this point. From the initial conversations that we've had, it's a fascinating background emerging into this industry. And what was your motivation ultimately for starting yhangry?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm an immigrant and I did my AI computer science degree in New York, moved over to London. I was in the sales and trading floor for 6.5 years. That's where I met Hainan. So I am Indian and she's German Chinese. Both of us come from nations where it is more normal to have an amazing cook at home, or like have those services where you can get great home cooked food. So when we were working in the corporate world, like it was kind of crazy that we couldn't hire a chef because chefs were just very, very expensive. And that's when we realized there was a gap in the market. And the gap was whole of Britain as a nation, and like the world is obsessed with chefs, Master Chef, Iron Chef, whatever. There's so many chef shows, yet chefs are actually one of the lowest paid professions out there and have a terrible, like sort of such a difficult livelihood and the salaries they make. So we just thought if we can bring a platform to actually bring chefs to customers at great rates, chefs can actually make more and customers can have an insane luxury in their home. So that was kind of the beginning, and that was like our initial insight. And since then, really like we sort of started this in 2020, then COVID happened, but we've been a part of Google for Startups. We've been on Dragon's Den, actually. We were awarded investment via Dream Dragons, which is very exciting on screen. We also in 2022 have been a part of Y Combinator, which is the largest accelerator in the world based out of Silicon Valley, where the likes of like Airbnb, DoorDash, Coinbase were like the giants were built. So yeah, very excited so far and for everything that's yet to come.
I think you're actually the third Dragon's Den contestant that I've spoken to this year. What was the actual experience like? I mean, you must get this question a lot, but yeah, I'd love to know a bit more about it.
Of course. So actually, even though the episode was 15 minutes, The actual recording went on for 2.5 hours in one straight go. So there's no refilming or retakes. You just kind of are pitching in front of people. I will say, like, they are tough cookies to crack. Like, for the first half an hour, it just felt a little bit stressful. The jokes weren't landing, but then it kind of became really fun. And I think me and my co-founder Heinen, we did have a lot of fun. And I think just in the lead up to Dragon's Den, to be fair to BBC, they just do a lot of due diligence. So there's actually a lot of like rounds to make it through the filming, and then even from filming there's maybe like a 50-60% chance that you get caught. So yeah, so very excited that we sort of made it through all the way, and yeah, it was very fun watching it with friends and family when it actually aired.
Fantastic. And so, of course, we're a short-term rentals website, so we're fascinated by this particular segment. Why are you looking to move more into this vertical now, and what are some of the partners that you're working with and announcing?
Amazing. So we have always just followed what our customers want and what they're doing. And now more than half of our bookings, and by the way, we are growing at a rapid pace. Like, we grew sort of 150, 200% last year. We are seeing the biggest growth segment to be short-term rentals, holiday-led space. Now, let me give you an example. This kind of follows the trend where customers and people around the world more experiences. Like 30 years ago, people wanted to buy flashy cars, whereas nowadays people want to travel and create memories. So private chef dinner really is like such an amazing high quality way to create memories. And we see, for example, people celebrating an 18th birthday or a 70th birthday at a property that they've hired. Or hen do's are really big, stag do's are really big, or maybe it's like a reunion with your friends from family. So that's kind of the trend we're seeing, and people are really wanting some cool experiences. We only started partnering about like a month and a half ago, and we've closed so many, for example, like Guest Ready, which is the property manager, Vive, Doma Stay, super high-end luxury cottages, bird stays, group accommodation. We have so many in the pipeline, but like PMS, like property management systems, property managers or OTAs, or even direct homeowners, it's a win. Like, partnership is just a way of saying it should be a win-win. It's a win-win because at yhangry, customers spend anywhere from like 200 pounds all in, or it could go up to 10,000 pounds. And we, for a partnership, imagine getting like 5 to 10% of that. That's kind of crazy, and it really can make a difference. And I think the one last thing I'd like to say is I did a lot of research, and the more properties I speak to, the number one request they get is of, do you have any chef recommendations? So it's just such an easy way of people just connecting and saying, here you go, these are like the local vetted chefs near you.
Absolutely. And what are some of the key trends that you're observing with yhangry at the moment? Yeah, I'm sure you can discuss lots of things there.
Yeah, so some of the key trends that we're observing, for example, if it's a group of 6 people or more, that's kind of a no-brainer because they have this beautiful table, beautiful dining table at their cottage or Airbnb, and they really want to enjoy it. So actually, at that point, people are booking for birthdays, hen do's, stag do's, family reunions, a getaway with friends, and more. Then we also see 2 people bookings where people are doing like date nights or like a proposal dinner, and it's like quite adorable and quite a cool way to obviously celebrate something romantic. We're also seeing multi-day chef hires. So for example, if you're getting a cottage for 3 days and you're a group of people, you just want a chef to take care of like the lunch dinner all the days, so you can actually enjoy it with your friends or family. So that's kind of a big one. And just in terms of price points, obviously like the 40-50 pounds per person casual dining is really big. People are also very excited by the fact that they can hire master chef contestants and master chef, and people are always shocked to hear that you can actually hire a master chef contestant from like 65 pounds per person. This is someone who's come on TV. Like, it's actually wild. And then I think there's always demand for the fine dining Michelin chef. I just want to have something really nice, and that usually starts from like 100 pounds per person, 120, 150 pounds per person, that range. Yeah. But like for me specifically, like that master chef and TV angle is so fun because I think that really gets people excited because people have seen these contestants, and the fact that they can actually have them in like a chef's table experience at something which is super affordable, like a similar restaurant cost, is just kind of insane. Yeah.
We hadn't practiced this before, but how is it that you're able to get a master chef contestant or someone for such a price like that?
So, this is like back to the gap I spoke about before. So, when people come on MasterChef, like amazing, they have this great show, they're famous now. And it's not just the person who was crowned MasterChef, like let's say the top three, the top five, whatever, 10. What do you think they do after? Like, how can they monetize their fame? There actually is like an issue because there's no obvious way for these people. How many books can you sell in that market? Like, I know for a fact that one of the Great British Bake Off winners said that, damn, like, even their books are, it's not sure that they'll get a book deal or not. So every other contestant sort of just falls off the planet of Earth because after the little sort of like hour of fame on TV, they have no way to monetize. Whereas I think a platform like us allows them to continue practicing their art and actually be appreciated for it. In terms of prices, I think that's the thing. Like, when a chef does a lot of jobs and then they have the credibility, they can earn more prices. So, for example, 2 years ago, we had a chef that started with us. He used to charge, Chef Fuad, he used to charge 30, 40 pounds per person. He was happy with that. Now that he's done 250 or 300 jobs on our platform, he has started charging 50 to 70 pounds per person, and he makes more, he charges more for his time. He's just become more senior. It's the natural progression. So the master chef contestant that's doing their first job might charge you 65 pounds per person, but in 3 years time hopefully they're charging 80 and 90 and 100. So I think it's just like a career progression where they start off at a rate, but then our hope and everyone's hope is that they can eventually charge more. Yes.
It's fantastic. I think that you're catering to such a wide, guest demographic and keeping that focus on being affordable. If I sort of shift the conversation now, how are platforms like yhangry, but maybe others that you're seeing in the same segment or outside of that, how are they increasingly curating these guest searches for more bespoke experience?
Yeah, I think just kind of talking about what we're doing at Why Hungry, like we really believe it is all about the guest experience. And I think it's really funny because recently we had an industry dinner and a lot of people in the short term rental space said that they care a lot about the guest experience. And it came up a lot. So from our side, the one thing we do is every chef does storytelling. Like storytelling is just a way of saying, where does the chef come from? What is their background? Then for each course, like what ingredients were used, why is this course so special, like what is it that you're eating, and like what should you know about your food. And like that is just such an amazing way of elevating the experience and making it chef's table. The second thing that we do, which is so exciting, is we send complimentary printed menus. So as a customer, you can go onto our website, choose different designs, kind of customize the title, and it just adds this like really fun thing that you can add to your dining table and makes it super insta worthy because you've had a private chef and that's kind of cool, and you want to like take photos and like you want to be able to read the menu that you're eating. So that's the second thing we do. And then I think obviously just generally as a platform, the goal is to match guests with not only local chefs but highly vetted and based on their vibes. So maybe we realize a customer is searching for more Italian, and then you get shown chefs that came from Italy or have cooked for the Italian prime minister, or like just have that link to the sort of vibe you're looking for.
I guess I've had the pleasure of interviewing people from Airbnb and Marriott who are really doing similar things in curating and making the guest search a lot more personalized. I can certainly see that with your vision for Why Hungry. Are you using any particular technology or AI? Like is the buzzword at the moment in the industry?
Yeah, it really is. So I think a lot of our matching currently, we do have algorithms and we are experimenting with AI and how to make it better and how to serve those personalized recommendations, especially for the next time that you want to come back and try a different chef, because every chef is like a different restaurant. And actually, a lot of AI we use is on the flip side. It's like to help chefs manage their requests and how they can quote menus and to make their lives easier. So we're seeing that use case is very helpful in just helping chefs manage their sort of workload.
And I guess what would you say are your upcoming ambitions for Why Hungry?
Yeah, so very recently, actually, Airbnb CEO Brian, who also was a part of Y Combinator, he came out and said that they are looking to offer other services like private chefs, which makes a lot of sense because we see that there is such a natural demand. So I think for us, just looking at the short term rental space, UK is still such a small part of it. And the biggest part is US and Europe. So the next natural step for us is expanding into those two locations. That is very much on the horizon. I think we have built the most scalable tech platform with an amazing customer experience, which is like 96% five-star reviews. So we just want to get this platform in front of as many people and facilitate as many amazing experiences out there. And then I think just in terms of partnerships, like it's such a win-win for us. Like we want to be able to partner, and why should we give Facebook and Google money when we can be offering this to people in the short-term industry? And I think that's the key reason for a partnership, where I know the industry is tough, but like people can make extra yield just partnering with yhangry, and then we can win because the customers come directly to us. So I think just creating this win-win excites me, because I feel like, yeah, like money can be funneled back into the industry rather than like the Facebook or the Google of the world. So I think that is going to be a very big part of what we do. And yeah, a lot is coming in pipeline. So I'm very excited for everything.
I wondered, do you fancy yourself as a bit of a chef, Siddhi, or is any chance that we might see you in your
So actually, I started this platform because I don't cook. I maybe cook like instant noodles, or I think, I don't know, just something really basic. And I just wanted, what's that?
I'm sure you're downplaying it.
No, I'm definitely not downplaying it. And I'm like the biggest user of my own platform, because I just think there are people who cannot cook and then there are people who cook. Whereas my co founder, Heinen, she's much more of a foodie, and she'd probably whip up like a cool Asian meal. So I think between both of us, you have someone who can cook, but you will never see me in the capacity of a professional chef.
Very well. Siddhi, you're going to be speaking at our upcoming short-term rental summit on Tuesday, the 5th of November in London. It's actually our second summit after our launch last year. Could you just tell us a little bit about your session? We're calling it Startup X-Ray, and how you plan to showcase the yhangry brand.
Yeah, I mean, I read about the session, and it just seemed very fascinating, like a Dragon's Den style startups pitching against each other. I think 5 minutes is a pretty good slot to be able to talk about the business, where it's at, and where we're going. I think I'm really excited because our trajectory has been pretty strong so far. We've grown 800% in just 2 years. So I think being able to just tell everyone what we're doing, why our path to being like a billion-dollar company is very clear, and how we can get there will be something that I'm looking forward to.
Excellent. We can't wait to see you there. We'll be putting a few details in the chat as well, so people can book their tickets. It's also in the same week as World Travel Market and Scale for the short-term rental property managers. So well worth being there and getting maximum value out of that week. Siddhi, I've got one final question for you, and it's something that we've started to do more on recent podcasts. A little bit of fun, we hope. It's a surprise final question from my previous podcast guest. So you've got absolutely no idea what's coming here. And it's this. It's what motivates you most to get up in the morning. It can be work related or personal, as long as we're keeping it clean here. But yeah, what would that be?
Yeah, I think my really, really deepest motivation, which I kind of recognized or realized like a couple years ago, is that I care a lot about sort of parity between women and men and how much they earn. And I think we've come such a long way, obviously, from how it started. But I think just generally, I would like to see more women sort of reaching top of the corporate ladder or being able to start businesses. And I think, and the reason I say all of this is because I think that motivates me to build a really big company, because I still think there are not enough billion-dollar companies started by women, let alone two women. And I think once we get there, I think a lot of our success will then hopefully be funneled back into causes we like. And for me, it will be this. So yeah, I'm super motivated by that.
Excellent. I really like that answer, and it's a fantastic note to end on. So It's been a pleasure, absolute pleasure to speak to you today, Siddhi. Can't wait to meet you in person and hear your presentation at the Short Term Rental Summit in a few weeks. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Paul. And yes, cannot wait to meet you in person.
Thanks for listening to this week's Short Term Rentals podcast. And a big thank you to yhangry for sponsoring this episode. If you'd like to keep up to date with industry news, head on over to shorttermrentals.com and sign up to our weekly e-newsletters.